is mentally impaired, if a Republican did what she did, if a Republican did what she did, that Republican would be impeached and removed from office, and rightfully so, for high crimes and misdemeanors. That would be high crimes and misdemeanors. Think of it. 13,099 murderers convicted of murder, not like convicted of murder. Some of the worst murders you've ever seen. They're all in our country now, every one of them. And I've been saying this for 3 years, and the fake news has been saying, well, you don't know that. Well, now we know it. They've never released a list like this. Not just on these, they've never done it. Over the years, they've never done it. She let in, and that's not even mentioning the rapists, the gang members, the drug dealers, the child predators, and the traffickers in women, mostly women. Joe Biden became mentally impaired. Kamala was born that way. Yeah. She was born that
way. He's just the best. What's going on, guys? How we doing tonight? The rare Sunday night live public recently. Usually it's been members only on the weekends. And so first of all, members, I apologize. I didn't get to you guys this weekend, and there's a reason for that, which I'm going to talk about. But tonight, listen, this whole weekend was a recharge weekend for me. There's so much going on. I'm just an hour and a half away from the flooding going on, destructive in North Carolina. It's horrific. And so this week was me spending a lot of time in prayer and resting and seeking guidance and clearing my head, because the home stretch, we're here. This next 5 weeks is crazy. So members, I apologize. You didn't get a members live this weekend because I needed more clarity. I needed more preparation for what's coming. And then tonight we needed to do this one public because there's just too much going on and too much coming for just to be with the members. So anyways, let me say hey to some people. What's going on? Vinman number 1, Croissant made it. Number 2, here at large, Trace Coopers, let's go. Stella, what's up, buddy? The 1, what it do? Usosino, DJ T to 1,000 after victory. We can pray and hope so. Shogun, what's up? Kim Wiley, Darren Collins, BB Vision. My area for the hurricane is mostly okay. We got a lot of rain, some wind, but it's literally right up the street. In fact, we were going to the mountains next weekend in Asheville. We were getting ready to rent a room. We were going to go up there for my birthday and enjoy the mountains, enjoy the festivities in that town. And now it's completely underwater. It's destroyed. It's awful. It's so sad. It's heartbreaking, honestly. And we just need to get out what's going on in North Carolina I don't know how the national news is covering it because I don't watch the national news. So, but we're okay. Thank God we're okay. We didn't even lose power, not even for a few seconds. So it's pretty crazy. So now what? Candace, what's up? Girth Mike's Susino's got 17 Stellas. Yoker, Superhero, what's up? Cindy Lou, Peter Udoka, Troy Man, Patrice, Susino, Toe Cramp, Bernard, Susan Michaels. Good people here tonight. Randy Outwell. And I think I got almost everybody. Hero, Q Alerts, what's up? E Honda. Need to vote for Trump. Bring 2 new Trump orders on board. Hey, man. Back to the retro review. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Big JR. Biden's on the case. Yeah, that's a joke. BM Pro says I'm good. Thank you, guys. I know you guys understand. I know you guys do. That's why you're the best. I got a good crew, good group of members, good community here. So we are safe. And like I said, but I tell you what, when this kind of stuff happens, it makes you reflect. And I did a lot of listening this weekend, and thinking. And I think we may be headed, and this might have been the start of it. I think we may be headed for the craziest next 2-3 months that any of us have ever seen. And I still am very hopeful about how it's going to go down. But I also think everybody needs to be prepared for how crazy things could get. It appears to me that this is instability is coming. Instability in a major way. And let me play something for you guys
fuel shipments
that
are
I
the
think
first
is
to
very
feel the
important to
impact.
listen to.
Crude oil tankers stuck.
Not for fear's sake, but remember, we are in national emergency right now for many states. People are coming in all over the place for North Carolina, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, all kinds of places to help with the devastation from this hurricane. And what's crazy is the devastation wasn't the wind as much or the wildness of the storm. It was the deluge of rain that it brought that our mountains are just not ready for here. And it's weird to me because in the West, when it rains, there's never worries of flood. I grew up in the California mountains. Flooding was like, we'll never flood because it's the mountains, right? So it's crazy to me, but just in the East Coast mountains are rounder, so stuff can come down and sit. And that's what's happening to all these towns. And it's flooding, which is just wild. They haven't seen floods like this in, I don't know, 100, 200 years, something like that. But the instability that's going to start coming out of this is, so we just struck a major blow in the East Coast, Southeast. And that's starting a lot. That's the whole country is going to be affected by this, even if it's just trickles. You might not feel it yet, but what it's going to do is open up doors for more destabilization. So check this out. And as you guys, most of you know, because we've already talked about this, but in 2 days, we are very likely to experience a U.S. seaport strike. And the ramifications of this, as I've been looking into it, are wild. So I want to turn it over to this guy. I want to play this whole video. It's 2 minutes long. But I want you guys to listen to this, not because of fear, but because of preparation. Now, I want to say before we watch this, the worst case scenario rarely happens. Very rarely. Like 1% of the time, if that. It's very rare the worst case scenario happens. But the timing of this is wild. October 1st, Tuesday, 5 weeks before the most consequential election of our lifetime. Okay, so get ready. But I want you to watch this because I want you to start thinking through as you watch this. Like, even if this 20% of this happens, the instability it could cause, and if it gets the absolute worst, we're looking at economic collapse and more. But anyways, watch this.
What happens if our seaports go on strike? The strike is set for October 1st, so you better share this with everyone. Because if our ports close, everything we depend on closes with it. Let's talk about what would happen within the month of October. On day 1, international fuel shipments are the first to feel the impact. Crude oil tankers stuck offshore means no new fuel entering refineries. By the end of the day, concerns spread across industries as gas stations, trucking companies, and airlines brace for immediate shortages. Everything from fuel to imported goods is at risk, but fuel becomes the most critical loss. By day 3, gas stations are starting to run dry and rationing begins. Prices surge as demand skyrockets. Without fuel, trucks can't deliver goods, and the first shortages show up in grocery stores. Businesses relying on imported oil, like refineries, scramble to maintain operations with whatever reserves they have left. The ripple effect starts to hit home. No fuel means no transportation, and without transportation, the flow of goods stop. Day 7, the energy crisis takes hold. Within the first week, the impact of fuel shortage deepens. Trucks, trains, and ships that move essential supplies across the country slow to a halt. Agriculture and manufacturing are crippled, unable to operate without fuel for machinery and transportation. Airlines begin canceling flights, and public transportation services are cut. Gas prices hit all-time highs as panic buying intensifies. By week 2, the power grid struggles and collapse looms. Power plants that rely on imported fuel start to struggle and blackouts spread as they ration what's left. People begin hoarding fuel and chaos erupts at the pumps. The stock market plummets as industries reliant on global supply chains begin to crumble. The economy falters and unemployment skyrockets as factories close and businesses shutter. By week 4, total breakdown of society. By the end of the month, the energy crisis and fuel shortages bring society to its knees. Cities erupt into fuel riots and law enforcement is overwhelmed. With no fuel, food distribution collapses and starvation becomes a real threat. Communities are left to fend for themselves as fuel reserves dry up completely, leaving transportation, emergency services, and the economy in ruins. Without ports, crude oil can't get in. Without crude oil, fuel can't be made. Without fuel, everything grinds to a halt. When the fuel stops...
All right. I'm going to stop it there. Okay, so this guy has obviously had a lot of caffeine. He's really feeling himself on this one. I'm not a doomsday guy. You guys know that. That's not why you watch me. Okay, this is not about doomsday. That's not what I'm talking about at all. Again, step back. Let's talk rationally. Let's think this through. It's a big deal is what it comes down to. And will things progress as fast as he says? No. Are we going to get that bad? I really don't think so. I don't think we'd see societal breakdown, any of that. But what is absolutely 100% possible with these ports breaking down is immediately within a week, okay, we could be seeing prices rise substantially, okay, especially in fuel. Go fuel up your cars before this happens, okay? And then food will be next and so on and so forth. So prepare for that. And then prepare for the fact that the stock market might be the black swan event we've kind of needed to trigger and break out of this cycle we've been in, this fake economy. This might finally be the thing that breaks it. That's all it takes is one massive thing to happen. Now, we could come to tomorrow and they announce a deal and none of this happens. And honestly, I think there's probably a high probability of that. These people know that the economy can't survive without the ports. It just can't. We are completely so dependent now on importing. It's just how it is. We are not made to be self-sufficient anymore in America. It's one of the big issues that Trump was trying to fix and just didn't have enough time. So this, though, the point is, guys, is that this will cause a ripple effect and it will lead to more instability. You can't make it up that this is all happening leading into this election. And none of this is good for the incumbent. This is going to tank the Kamala campaign. All of this. People are going to just get mad at who's in charge. They're not going to blame the outsider for this. They're not going to blame Trump for this, which means there's something else they're going to try to do to take advantage of all this. And so what is my point right now? It's be prepared. Be prepared for instability. Be prepared for them acting crazy, them trying to accelerate into world war. We're here. We're in the final run. And I'm still very hopeful. I think we get to election day. We're going to have an election. I think Trump's going to win. I think it's going to be so overwhelming they can't deny it, but they're still going to fight it to get him in. All of that. My point is, I want all of us to also get through it without being completely beat up, completely unaware. All right. And so it's the idea is prepare yourselves. I don't think we're going into Mad Max, anything like that. But I do think after spending a lot of time this weekend thinking about it, it's just that, we prepare for the worst while believing for the best. And I truly believe, again, the worst rarely happens. Okay. Rarely. And you don't need to over prepare. I'm not telling you guys to, hunker down and get ready for 6 months of being in, but maybe be ready for a week. Who knows if power goes out? Who knows if the power grid does get affected? If the stock market tanks and all these prices short up? Do you have money? Did you buy stuff when it was cheaper? And prepare yourselves. I think it could be anything that means 5 days to 10 days. Be ready. But this whole flooding thing really just made me wonder, like, is this just a warning of things to come? These poor people in the mountains, what they're going through, because there is a lot of craziness going on. Just Mike says Asheville is 2,100 feet above sea level. Blows my mind to have such devastating flooding. I know, it is wild. Retro Review says, is it me or is Harris losing a marvel a day? At least, if she has any marbles left. 3 more storms are developing. I heard that. Yeah. Back to Retro again says, I grew up in Florida, saw this devastation a lot. Shut small businesses down, corporations, but the lands and builds, it's sad. It is very sad. Yeah, it's terrible. Fro Girl, say my prayers. Thank you. We felt your prayers for sure. We definitely have. Needs a hobby. Who needs a hobby? Real Clever Fox, doesn't the U.S. have fuel reservoirs to use up? Yeah, we used all those fuel reserves. We used our entire national, what do they call it? The strategic reserve to help keep gas prices down. That's what we used our strategic national reserve for, because Biden wanted to keep his poll numbers up. So we emptied out the whole strategic national reserve for that Trump had built up over time. Isn't that wild? Is Kamala behind the possible port strikes? I don't see how. I have thought about that. We're talking about ports all the way from Maine to Texas. To me, I don't see how they could be coordinating this politically. We're talking about regular Joes and Janes who work hard on the docks, coming together to strike at this time. I just have a hard time believing they're all in on it in a way that they would do this. I know it could be like union leadership or something, and they could be in on it, but still, this will be devastating to everybody. The conspiracy part of me wants to say, of course, they're in on it. And of course, they're trying to make this happen, although it doesn't help them. The other part of me says, this is crazy, the timing. It's just one of those things that just all seems to come together at this one time, but maybe there's something else behind it all, and it won't be as bad as we think, and it's being used for a greater good, and it won't actually hurt us that much, and maybe they resolve it, but it still causes enough instability to really hurt the people in charge, which we need. I don't know. We're going to find out. But I think it's likely this does not go on too long, because the ports are going to be forced to cave. It's that or economic collapse. And so it's like, how can they not? Real Clever Fox says, checked, say we have about 365 million barrels of crude oil. It's the lowest it's been in 4 decades. But we would go through those. We would, yeah, absolutely. If fuel runs out, it'll be blamed on Kamala and Joe. 100%, exactly. And that's part of the deal, So, Thomas, how you doing, brother? On the road recovery from round 4 chemo. All right, man. Well, God bless you. And as soon as you know about the tumors, where they're at, tell us. So, anyways, what happens though if this goes through? Again, this guy is, I don't know anything about this guy. I've never seen him before. This video was shared to me, and I thought it was interesting enough to share, because he makes some good points. But but he's obviously also got that. He's got that doomsday thing about him, where I can't always trust those people, that are so doomsday, because usually when you put a timeline on stuff like that, there's so many factors you don't account for. There's so many things going on in the economy, this massive economy, trillions of dollars, 330 million people, different states that run themselves differently. There's no way somebody can know exactly how this all plays out. So there's that. When people act like they do, I'm like, okay, you're not totally thinking this through. But having said that, the point stands that he's absolutely right about fuel and the cost of food and all that. And this is going to, if this happens, okay, let's just talk about this from a political standpoint. It's going to devastate Kamala's campaign. And so my thinking is that On our side, how can we prepare to go through this? Because it might be a couple rough weeks. On their side, how desperate are they going to get? What other craziness are we going to see? That's the question. And one of the things that we are blessed on is that because we're so many different states in this massive economy and experiment we call the United States of America, we also, depending on which state you're in, you'll be affected less or more. So we have like blue states are much more dependent upon centralization. Some red states are too because they're poor. They're very poor states. But for the most part, the red states are more independent. And so this will affect them less. They have less regulations, so there's more freedom to do stuff. They tend to be more community driven because the government doesn't involve in stuff as much. So you got people who are involved in groups and churches and stuff, and they all take care of each other. So it'll be the blue states that get it the worst, especially in my opinion, the Northeast, because the West has California, which can feed itself and all that. So yeah, we're going to see, but it's going to be just really interesting how this plays out. Adventures says if ports of the East Coast will affect the West Coast too. Yeah, because most things imported are imported to the East Coast. And I don't know why I haven't heard California's involved in this. I would imagine it'd be everybody, but I've only seen East Coast involved in this and the Gulf. So Calvin says, I hope it lasts 1.5 weeks to cause margin calls and fear, but not affect lives too much. And that's my hope too, is that this goes down and they don't get a deal tomorrow, that it does, it's only long enough to maybe impact fuel prices for a couple weeks, maybe not too much on food, but it does shock the stock market. I think that's very possible. Yeah. What do I think about tension in the Middle East? It's a real thing, Clever Fox. We have the fact that they're trying to get war with Iran ramped up. There's no doubt about it, they are. Whether or not they're going to accomplish that, that's the question. Israel right now is really going on the offensive. They just launched another attack the other day, took out a bunch of Hamas leaders, and they did it with like crazy accuracy, and their striking ability is insane to do that without like an invasion or anything really geared up. They just struck. They've got intel. They knocked it out. It was wild. So yeah, there's a lot of instability in the Middle East right now. We would have to see, in my opinion, an actual attack of Iran on Israel that's significant to fully see war laid out. That would give us the excuse we need to declare war alongside Israel. Is Iran going to take the bait is a question. I don't know. I'm kind of shocked they didn't already. Remember how ramped up back in April? They were already talking about doing this. Can you believe it? It's been that long already? Holy smokes. 5 months since that last that really ramped up, and that 5 months feels like 5 weeks. It's just gone by so fast. This year is insane. But yeah, that's what it would take. It's important to watch it. It's important to keep attention to it. But as far, it seems to me that the real focus has all of a sudden gone back to Russia, which in my opinion is stupid on their behalf, because Putin's not going to take the bait unless he absolutely has no choice. And that would take something massive, a massive strike on Russian people by a NATO country, or and it would be preemptive, like on civilians, something that would shock Putin out of being patient, which Putin's a powerful man. I mean, he's a smart dude. I think it would take a lot. So yeah, but I do think that's where they're trying to push the buttons the most, which is weird. But at the same time, we have Zelensky coming over here, meeting with Trump, telling Trump he wants peace. Trump makes a big deal out of it. Kamala is obviously pissed because she's calling out about like Trump talking to Zelensky, and they are not happy about this. But I talked about this, I think it was in my last live, the world leaders starting to talk to Trump again. It's really interesting to me. It seems like they are acknowledging, we think this guy's coming back. So that kind of stuff is Very interesting and worth watching. But do they want World War III? Yes, they do. And we are very close to seeing something immense happen. But it sounds like it sounds like we might make it through. They're going to have to ramp it up considerably these next few weeks. The question is, do they have the time to do it? Are they ready, or did they already try so many things that it's they've kind of exhausted their attempts, and now they got to come up with something new and ramp up to that? Who knows? Retro says they should have waited to do the Diddy scandal. Now they need another distraction. That's right. They did it really early. That's interesting too, though. What if Diddy somehow it leaks some of his stuff? He's willing to talk. What if that leaks? It's interesting too that we haven't. The Diddy stuff is starting to tone down a little bit thanks to this hurricane coming in. So when it's quiet, do you think they try to off him? Or are they just going to let go? Or is he actually protected? We don't know. This is crazy. Big JR says, remember to hit the like button to count the algorithms and shout outs. Thank you, Big JR. You know they don't like me talking about this stuff. So, yes, I appreciate that. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Act like you guys actually like my channel. Honey Badger just joined. Did I talk about the port shutting down this week? Yes, I did. They killed the leader of Hezbollah. Was it Hezbollah? I thought it was Hamas's leader. Interesting. So is the leader of Hezbollah they killed. Okay. Everyone's on edge now. Yeah, I got some puts on GME. GameStop is very interesting. Okay, so anyways, let's go through some other news. That's kind of the big stuff, but I wanted to go through some other things I'm seeing. Some of it's very interesting and you could say funny. You guys see this? Tim Walz is nervous about facing JD Vance in next week's vice presidential debate. Guys, this is on Tuesday. 2 days away. 2 days away. We're supposed to have a vice presidential debate, which, if they still have it, I'm going to live stream it. You better believe it. So, because I can't wait to see JD Vance wipe the floor with Baby Shrek. But I don't know. Walz is getting cold feet. Look at this. It's being reported that Tim Walz is struggling and is considering pulling out of the debate altogether. You imagine pulling out 2 days before? Like, that's the weakest. That might be the weakest thing I've ever seen somebody do. I mean, but this, when you got a guy doing stuff like this, come on, we gotta laugh. Look at this kick. Is that the worst kick you've ever seen, or what? I mean, this is terrible. Look at that little baby kick. He can't even get up to his waist. Yeah. This is like if he should have yelled with it so he could have a Howard Dean moment. Yeah. But oh my God, this is just hilarious. I'm just gonna let this run in the background while I answer questions because it's well worth studying over and over again. Kasink says, Ace, I see Joe Sweeney, ex-CIA attorney, wrote a book about the Dems and Biden getting Trump. Robert Gouveia has a video with him. It's scary. No, I don't know anything about that. What do you mean getting Trump? Real Clever Fox said Diddy news came out at the same time, so major news came out. Because of that, the major news didn't make it news. Wait, what? What was the... So we don't know what the other major news is, what you're saying? Vance is going to shred him, I agree. Tim Walz thinks life is a cabaret. A box cabaret. It's going to be worse. Kamala or the Walz debate is going to be terrible. He pulled a hammy. He's obviously already got strained hammies. That kick got all of this high off the ground. It was like this. little fluttered. It's amazing. Oh, thanks, Kim. I love that you love my channel. Appreciate it. Wonder if Tampa Bay is going to get COVID all of a sudden. Listen, the problem is they already let the cat out of the bag by CNN reporting he's nervous, so they can't come up with a sickness excuse. Nobody will buy it. It's already way too out there. So Yeah, he's more than autistic. It's way worse than that. So, but anyways, I just the craziest stuff. So, all right, but check. This is good. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Elon wrote this, and this is massive that he's willing to write this stuff. Elon has probably the most followers of anyone on Twitter now, being that he owns it. Yeah, almost 200 million followers. So think of how many views this is getting. But he wrote, very few Americans realize that if Trump is not elected, this will be the last election. Those are huge words coming out of Elon. Far from being a threat to democracy is the only way to save it. Let me explain. If even 1 in 20 illegals become citizens per year, something Democrats are expediting as fast as humanly possible, that would be about 2 million new legal voters in 4 years. He says the voting margin in the swing states often less than 20,000 votes. That means if the Democratic Party succeeds, there'll be no more swing states. He's absolutely right about this. This is why I've been saying this is the most important election. Like, put everything else aside. Put aside all the reasons to not like Trump. I get it. Fine. He's not perfect, especially if you're hardcore libertarian, something like that, hardcore conservative. I get it. He's not going to be your perfect candidate. That's fine. But this isn't about perfect. This is about saving our country so that there is a future to have those other debates. And if we lose this one, there's no coming back from this except for an entire generation has to change, because they will shore things up so much that it's going to require enough people living through pain that are already voting that way to change completely. And that takes time. That takes 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years for that to happen. It takes time to overthrow authoritarianism. It just does. It can happen. It happens. It just happened in where was it? Happened in the Argentina election. We've seen it happen many times in history across several places. Vietnam pulled it off years and years ago. I mean, this does happen. But it takes time. It's very difficult. Obviously, the USSR. I just have great concerns that not enough people still. No, there is enough people who realize this time, but there's a lot of people who still don't. That's what I mean by that. And it's very concerning they still don't see that. And they are like perfectly content to say, I won't vote for this is not my perfect person, so I won't vote. Christians do this too. It drives me absolutely batty. They're like, well, Trump's had 3 divorces. I'm like, or 2 divorces, 3 wives. I'm like, yeah, I know. David, who you love, King David in the Bible, murdered and raped a woman, murdered his friend to rape his wife. And God called him a man after his own heart. God doesn't seem to care about perfect too much. So why do we got, like, this has to happen. Moreover, the Biden-Harris administration has been flying asylum seekers fast-track to citizenship directly into swing states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, Arizona, surefire way to win every election. America then becomes one-party state and democracy's over. Only elections will be Democratic Party primaries. It's already happened in California many years ago, and he's absolutely right about that. I'm from California. The only thing holding California back from extreme socialism and suffocating government policies is that people can leave California and still remain America. Once the whole country's controlled, there will be no escape. He's right. I mean, and this is a powerful, powerful statement coming from a powerful, powerful man. 46 million views on this. And I gotta just pray that, like, this wakes even more people up, because, guys, here's the deal. I have one fear about this election. One. And it's small, because I see the data, and the data is very, very good. But I have one fear, and that we're going to be that we'd be a little bit short on the people who care enough or realize where we're at enough to push it over. We have the votes. We have the people. There's enough good people. There's enough awake people. We don't know the scale of their steel. I don't think it's going to be enough. I've been on record saying that, and I continue to say that. But listen, let's talk about my 1% possibility. which is still a possibility. It's that they do have enough and we don't show up because we don't believe in enough. You know, that's my one fear. And so we got to keep getting this out there. It changes, this one changes everything. After we get our democracy back, our republic back, I should say, because that's what we really are, then we can start being like, hey, let's argue about all this other stuff, how it should be run. But the Democratic Party is no longer a party of Americans. It is a party of authoritarian communist dictator types who want to give us a bunch of free stuff that really traps us into slavery. And then we choose it ourselves and we stay there and then we can't get out once we're waking up. That's what they want. That's what they want to do. And that's what they're trying to do right now. And these people have to be so defeated. Nobody can debate it. And that's what we need. We don't need a squeaker victory, even though that would be enough. We could get by on that as long as it's enough where it can't be overturned. Trump gets in, we fight to get him in, all that. That's enough. I'll take it. But what we really need, what I'm praying to God we get, is a landslide so overwhelming that nobody can claim a damn thing about it not being that America wanted to be American again, that they wanted Trump. And I see it when Trump showed up at the Alabama game this week. It was awesome. Was it Alabama? I think it was. But the whole stadium went nuts for him. This is what we need. We need that energy. We need to pray that comes out, and that's what the election is like. Because this is it. This is it. This is our chance. And after this, it's like I can't even, people keep asking me, what happens if we lose? I can't even start to think that way. I can't even begin. I mean, honestly, if we lose, part of me just wants to become a hermit. I just want to, go into my life and just work and make as much money as I can in the little time I have and try to get my family in a place where as little of this horrific government stuff can affect me as possible. But it's like the political fight feels like it won't be over. But if I think about it right now, it'd be so disappointing to feel like it is, So Cassink says everybody's in cahoots. DOJ, CIA, Dems are all out to get Trump. Oh yeah. I mean, we all know that. Yeah. I may be wrong about the kick. Someone asked him what 1 + 0. Tim Walz got a groin pull from that kick and won't be able to attend the debate. Sign Tim Small. Mike, that wins the night, buddy. That is funny. That is perfect. Groin pull from the kick. That's amazing. I love it. Shogun, can Trump deport the immigrants, expedite the approval, U.S. citizenship? Once they're citizens, no, you won't be able to expedite them. Unless they did some loophole. That's illegal. If Trump wins, he needs to go underground till the 20th? Probably. The economy is enough of a reason to vote for him? Amen. Jesus is God. I agree. Tahoe, when Trump wins, yes. There you go. Jim Boswell, Deep State wants U.S. to lose a war to get rid of the Constitution. That's very true. They want the economy to collapse. If the Deep State gets their way, they need the economy to collapse and us to go into a massive war where we actually lose or get really, really beat up so that they can overtake stuff. And so that there'll be enough people who feel like we're being saved by the government that they give up their rights. That's what they need. William Kivemaki says, there are laws in place. Ports have to take and unload oil and food or they'll be arrested. Huh. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know enough about that. Mad Max, what's not to like about Trump? Man's helped thousands of average people throughout his life. Doesn't drink, believes in God. I agree. I don't get it. Bruce Hyman, what will happen is regional secession. But that's the thing. I do believe states would try to secede. But can they? Because we won't be a nation of law anymore. Do you understand? We won't be. They're already trying to stop it. But you know what's going to happen? Kamala's going to get rid of the filibuster, and the Dems will be on board with that. They will pack the Supreme Court. I guarantee that. Oh, it absolutely is going to happen. Kamala's going to put, I heard one person, a Democratic strategist, say they believe there should, like, let's get it up to 21 justices. Do you understand how crazy that is? That'd be 12 extra justices, all appointed by that. And there's nothing in the Constitution that stops you from packing a Supreme Court. If you choose to do it, you can do it. That's how FDR got away with it, and that's how he got the New Deal passed. They can do it. It used to be 7 justices. He packed it up to 9 to get at his friendly Supreme Court. And they hate the Supreme Court right now because it's the only thing that slowed them down. Kamala won't care. And so when you say states will secede, I'm like, okay, by law, they should be able to. By law, legally in America. But if a state like Texas decides to secede, will they let them, as far as, will they declare that it's an act of war? Will they go after Texas? Does Texas really want to enter a war with the federal government of the United States? I don't know. I mean, these are the things that, like, it sounds so easy. People talk like it's an easy thing. But guys, if this goes down, they're not doing it just so they can have California and New York. They're doing it so they can have everything, all the resources, that they can take control of all of it. And so, you know, how does it go down? That's the crazy thing. I honestly believe that we're at the point where I truly believe that if Kamala squeaks out a barely win, and especially if Trump's winning big and then they do the thing they did last time and overturn it late, I really believe if they do that, the people will reject the result. And I think there will be a revolution. And I don't know if it'll get violent or not. I can't say. But I don't think people will accept Kamala Harris becoming president. I don't. She would have to win a landslide. That's the only way people will accept it, as if it actually happened. But we're at the point where most people won't accept it. And they're not going to go through letting Trump have it stolen from again and going through another 4 years of this nonsense we've been through. People aren't going to accept it if they feel like it was stolen from them. If 50% or more of the nation believes that, it's not happening. And we're at 63 to 67% of Americans in general, including Democrats, believe that the last election was rigged. You have that many people believe it, and this one will be even more obvious because everybody's watching and you can see the momentum for Trump. You can see the popularity. So that's the other aspect that, you know, could happen, is that Trump loses election night, or he's winning. We wake up in the morning, they change it or say we can't call it yet. These votes trickle in. They pull it out for Kamala by a squeaker. And Americans are like, hell no. You just effed around and found out. It's time. We're done. We're not doing this. And then we have a second revolution. I think that's possible. I actually think that's more possible than civil war. Listen, there's not enough Democrats with guns or true believers to get involved in a war against their own people. It's just not going to happen. What'll happen is it's going to be the government against the people. That's what'll happen if it goes down. And that, I think that's a possibility. I really do. I think it's a very small possibility, but I do think it's a possibility. I don't think people are ready to lose their country. I really don't. I don't think we're ready to accept it. And everybody knows this time Trump is way ahead. Everybody knows. We all know it. Nobody trusts the media anymore. Nobody trusts the polls anymore. Any of that nonsense. We just don't. The only people who trust it are liberals who are completely brainwashed and people who've checked out, who don't even think this election matters either way, which those people are just, I can't even fathom how stupid that is. And then there's the people who are, all in, like Democrats, which is just very few of them, honestly. The rest of them are just casual people who are going to vote Democrat because they don't pay attention and they hate Trump. So you don't have that many people who would be willing to fight for it, but you have lots and lots of people who keep our country and want to get our country back on track and want to fight for their family and have that future again, and are tired of their dreams being put on hold, that they were promised they'd have a chance at something, and now their freedom. People don't give up freedom lightly. They don't give up freedom lightly at all. So that is not something I think that people take and let happen. And so we'll see how that goes. But that's what we all got to pray doesn't happen. We don't want that. We don't want it to come to that. We want this to be a landslide election for Trump so we can start moving forward in our country. That's what we want. And that's what we need to be praying for. Not just a win. A win is not, it's not good enough for what we really, really need. The country really can start healing and really defeat these people a lot faster in a landslide. That's what we need. Drew Saval says, I don't think she has something to do with the strikes. I think she has something to do with the strikers making a deal to stop the strike, prevent the deal. That's very possible. Absolutely. Democratic news station still pumping camel toe propaganda. Well, they will all forever. Hobbs says, I've said before, Kamala wins, I'm leaving the United States, moving to Texas. Matmo says, my concern is if and when Trump wins, the lunatics within the left will unleash violence and incivility they're known for. They will. Oh, yeah, it's going to happen, Matmo. Listen, Trump wins, we're going to see riots. We're going to see all kinds of stirring up people to be violent. We're going to see a lot of there's going to be a lot of rhetoric. The media is going to really ramp things up. All that stuff's going to happen, and it's going to be ugly. And there is going to be some pandemonium, absolutely. But they can only keep it up for so long because once Trump gets in, it's law and order time, and he'll stamp it out, and he'll warn people. Just like he's doing now. I mean, check this out. He's telling them, he's putting them on blast. Like you screw around this time and I get in, it's trouble. It's absolute trouble. And he's doing this right now with the election cheaters, but he's going to do this with rioters and stuff too if they do this after he wins. I mean, listen to this.
Now, we got to make sure there's no cheating. And we're working hard on that. We got more lawyers. We got more people watching. And I told them, if we win and when we win, we're going to prosecute people that cheat on this election. And if we can, we'll go back to the last one, too, if we're allowed. But we're going to prosecute people, so at least they know that's going to happen. And I said that because we can't. I
mean, that's throwing the hammer down. He just said they'll even go back to 2020. So that's the other thing. It's like there's a lot of stuff like, will they do this? Will they do that? Sure, there'll be a little bit of it. But there's also, you guys, I don't think these people are cowards. And if they know he's coming in this time, and this time there's no messing around. Last time they were able to infiltrate his administration with rhino Republicans and establishment people. They infiltrated him. They cut him off at every corner. They were able to keep the Russia investigation on, which hampered his first 2 years. They got another impeachment on, 2 impeachments. They were able to slow him down so much because Trump wasn't fully ready last time. He wasn't ready. He didn't have the right people in place, any of that. This time it's going to be completely different. This time they know. This is why they're so scared this time. Last time, I don't even know if they let it happen because they sure seemed shocked when he won. But they were able to maneuver. But this guy is coming in now after 8 years of being vetted and attacked and survived it all. So good luck trying to get something on him now. They're not going to have a legal recourse against him. So that's out. And then you have all these other people in place. He's not going to have these backstabbers in place anymore. I was listening to, they're already preparing to staff his administration with 12,000 people. RFK Jr.'s on this, Tulsi Gabbard, his sons, Trump's sons, Vivek. They're all J.D. Vance. They're all vetting these people, this group. And they have a very strict process of vetting people who want to serve in his administration. It's very strict. And they are vetting them all. Last time Trump got in and he just was staffing, he delegated it all. He trusted a bunch of Republicans to staff everybody. And he got screwed over by it. That's not going to happen this time. They're ready. They're ready. William, your friend works for the Port Authority. Okay, well, that's good to know that the fuel and food will still come in. See, and that's what I was telling you. That guy with his video, if that's true what you're saying, William, that and that's where I see, I hear people say about economic, civilization collapse because of the ports. I'm like, That doesn't sound right to me. And so that set off my BS detector. But he is right about the fact it could be a black swan event that triggers an economic fall that is long needed. So what do I think about Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech? Which one? I didn't hear a really recent one. Boswell, Roosevelt negotiated coal strike in early 1900s. Maybe Trump will end the strike if it happens. That would be huge. That would be huge. I think fingers closer than ever. I agree, Mad Max. I think a lot of stocks are going to start getting very interesting as the stock market gets more volatile in the next few weeks. I really do, with all the stuff going on, including the election. Thomas, when Trump gets in, Patrick Byrne will fix stock settlement. I can't flip away. Amen. Shogun, start putting puts on Google since I've been putting false narrative on Trump. I know. He already said he's going to prosecute them for the news. He did. Toe cramp, there's a Q post that says it'll be dealt with clean swift. Interesting. Hobbs, you love it. He's finally talking about investigating, arresting, charging, etc. I'm tired of hearing the left say nobody's above the law. It's a time to enforce the law. Amen. I know RFK Jr. retweeted ML2P. I know I put that out last time. Shogun says I'm going to write a letter to Trump to hire me. What else say about that? I don't think I'd be on his radar, but thank you for thinking of me. So here's the kind of stuff that gives me hope too. Okay, going in there. This is a federal judge in Arizona ruled Democratic Secretary of State cannot certify results of 2024 election if any counties withhold certification. Do you realize this is actually a very big deal? So in Arizona in 2020, Arizona was full on Trump, right? And then Maricopa County, which is Phoenix, their votes started coming in, and this is where all the fraudulent stuff came in, messed with it, and turned it over to blue. Well, there were counties who were calling it out and were like, we don't want to certify, but they pushed it through. This judge just said, if Maricopa County pulls that nonsense again, basically, and another county calls it out and says we're withholding certification due to fraud, then they can't certify the results of all of Arizona. So Arizona potentially, if they try to steal it, if they somehow gin up enough, even with all the things they've pushed in Arizona, all the rules to make it a little tighter, all the people watching now, Maricopa becoming more Republican, all that stuff. If they pull that off still and they try to get it blue, well, they're saying no. Hey, listen, you guys have to get all the counties on board before we send in those results for Arizona. So this is massive. This means that Arizona could be tied up, if that happens, could be tied up for a long time until they get it right. And so this is allowing other counties to have power over the election result in Arizona. This is absolutely huge. It's absolutely huge. So really good news. The rule is this: if the official canvass of any county has not been received by this deadline, Secretary of State must proceed with the state canvass without including the votes of missing county. I think this is when the rule overturned. This ruling is a game changer and empowers counties to halt the certification process. So anyways, kudos to this guy. That's absolutely huge. Let's hope the Arizona Supreme Court doesn't overturn it or anything. So, and then this came out the other day, a new Atlas Intel poll, which was the most accurate pollster in 2020. They just released Battleground polls. Remember, they released a week or two ago their general election poll, and they had Trump up almost 3 points, and it was just like a world shocker for Washington, D.C., just freaking them out. And now we have their Battleground polls, and it looks very good for Trump, except for North Carolina, which, by the way, guys, I'm telling you right now, there's no way in hell North Carolina is going blue. But anyways, I don't know how they got that result. Every pollster can be off. But Georgia, red. Arizona, red. Nevada, blue, which I actually think Nevada will go red, but still, it's within the margin of error. Here's the big one, though. Wisconsin or Michigan, they have up 3.5 points. Michigan's the most blue out of all these states. So, by the way, if Michigan goes red by 3.5 points, ain't no way in hell these other states are going blue. I'm sorry. If Michigan goes red by 3.5 points, every battleground state is going to be a Trump state. I'll just tell you that right now. Pennsylvania, 3 points. That's the big one right there. So if Trump wins all these he's leading in right here, Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, it's over. It's over. And I'm telling you right now, there's no way he's losing North Carolina. So the data doesn't even show any chance of North Carolina even being necessarily close. So when you take in the voter registrations, the trend of North Carolina the last few elections, all that stuff. So it's just not going to happen. So massive layoffs. We could get the crash December. Mad Max, you're right. Yeah, it could happen. 69 likes, Hero. Oh, man, come on, guys. We could get up to 100. I got 150 people watching. Can we not get 100 likes? Am I doing that badly tonight? Do I have a Sunday night hangover and nobody wants to watch, so it's affecting my likes? I don't know. Come on, we can do it. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate it. Thank you all. But anyway, so this was big that Atlas Intel came out with this, because they watch these very closely, these Atlas polls, and they are considered to be like, this is not like Morning Consult puts out a poll, and when this turns heads, this gets people watching. So if these results come in, guys, and if this is true about Michigan, and this is true about Pennsylvania, again, Michigan is the most left out of all these. So this North Carolina, this isn't what we call an outlier. Very few polls in North Carolina have shown it blue. Very few. It's an outlier. And this is an outlier in Michigan too. Okay, but the point is that if this is even possible to be close to that, I mean, because the polls almost always under represent Trump, it's going to be very big night for Trump. And again, that's the prayer. That's the hope and prayer, is that we get an early night. So anyways, I'm going to start tying this up because I got to go. I work tomorrow. Got a long week ahead, and we're going to have lots of news, including possibly a debate, as long as Kickin' Chicken doesn't bail on us. You know, as long as he doesn't give up, we should have a debate on Tuesday. Oh, which, by the way, it reminds me, J.D. Vance won the coin toss and gets the last word at the debate. So maybe that's why he's nervous, because getting the last word is a big deal. Gwen Waltz, his wife, suggesting Tim pull out of the debate to avoid the humiliation. I mean, I just love it. These people are such cowards. So anyways, but guys, again, listen, things are about to get crazy. It's already getting crazy because this hurricane, but in the port strike, all this is happening. We're about to enter October. Buckle up. I'm going to be here as much as I can, going through this stuff every day as much as possible. This next weekend, you won't see me as much. My birthday's on Friday, so I'm going to do family time. But then, guys, it's all hands on deck. We got to win this election. So we got to pray it's a landslide, because I don't even want to think about what happens if it doesn't work out. I don't want to get there, but be prepared for whatever could come. That's my hope and prayer. And a big point of tonight is just that, because so many crazy things could be coming, just be prepared, modestly prepared. I'm not telling you to become preppers. You don't need to build a nuclear bunker, not like that, but just, for maybe a couple weeks of craziness, get ahead of it, so that just in case it happens in your area, because after seeing the mountains flood, it kind of woke me up to be like, doesn't matter where you're at, something crazy can happen. So anyways, let's watch for the market tomorrow, see what happens. Always so much news. So let's pray and get out of here. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Lord, I gotta especially pray for the people. Let me turn this off in the background. A little distracting. Father, let's pray especially for the people impacted by this hurricane and the flooding. We pray for people to be saved. We pray for people to have their lives spared, their as little damage to their stuff as possible. The people who are completely wiped out, I pray they're fully restored by the insurance companies. I pray there's a lot of favor there. I pray our government actually shows up and does what they're supposed to do in these situations. And I just thank you for all the people that are already showing up to help. And God, I just pray for as few deaths, as little devastation going forward as possible. And that just people are reunited. And God, just let there be miracles, and you always show up the most in times like this. So we just pray that just as many people as possible are helped. And God, for this election, I pray that it's overwhelming. Turn America red, God. Just let us go all in on saving our country and saving the smaller debates for later. And just pray that this is overwhelmingly to the point where we are all in awe, in shock and awe that it's such a big turning point, that it's such a massive win, that we know it couldn't have been done without your help, that it's just a miracle that we all witness on election night and going forward, so that we truly can see better times in America in ways we've all hoped for a long time. We bless everybody here. Pray God give them wisdom in all their situations to navigate, and so they can prosper and be protected. In Jesus' name, amen. Bless you guys. Please like, share on the way out. I appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't. And I'll be back tomorrow, and we're going to do it. Got a big week ahead. So see you soon.